Welcome to the world of koi, a world full of color and beauty. There are so many color patterns, hundreds, it's hard to explain them all. But the journey of finding beautiful colors starts here. If we talk about the color of koi fish, then we know that blue pigment is a rare color pigment found in koi fish. There is only one type of koi fish that is blue, namely asagi, also shusui as a doitsu variant of asagi. Shusui was the first doitsu variety of koi and one of the only two blue koi. Based on this fact, it was inevitable that the lineage, and subsequent doitsu varieties, were based on the shusui variety. Yes, that's right, asagi is the first and oldest koi fish in the world. Likewise asagi, who is the first ancestor of doitsugoi. Astonishing fact, right? The shusui koi fish that you see are old variants of the ancestral koi fish of the existing doitsu fish. Shusui's name in Japanese means raindrops. The name is taken from the dorsal scales on shusui's back which drop like water droplets in the rainy season. Beautiful and appropriate name, is not it? Shusui koi are a gray-blue koi with a very striking red pattern along the sides of the fish and in the cheeks and fins. The shusui koi also have no scales over their body except for a row of large scales along each side of the dorsal fin. These koi are very valuable to the history of koi as they started the scaleless variety of ornamental carp and, over the years, this scale type has grown to over 100 different varieties. The doitsu scale type originated in Germany when an asagi koi was bred with a German mirror carp in the early 1900s. These mirror carp had a genetic mutation that resulted in certain growth genes not developing properly. This mutation was commonly seen in many types of carp, including koi and zebrafish as well as thousands of other species, and is visible in the form of a lack of scales or a fully scaleless fish. When the gene mutation was first spotted in Germany, the fishermen encouraged it and grew the population of fish, with the mutation as it made preparing the fish for cooking and eating a lot easier and quicker. Eventually, many species developed to the point where every fish had the mutation. After hearing about these scaleless fish in Germany, many other countries wanted them as they vastly reduced the work and time required to prepare meals, and were therefore very valuable to the fish merchants, and many other businessmen. One of these countries was Japan, and once some of these varieties of carp, including the mirror carp, were imported into the country, fishermen quickly got to work introducing these new scaleless carp into their populations of carp to spread the gene mutation. By this point, koi carp were already being bred as ornamental carp, by breeders across the country, and the Asagi koi was well established. It was one such breeder, Kichiguro Akiyama, who decided to breed an Asagi with one of these new mirror carp, which is the scaleless version of a common carp. Within only a few generations, a new variety of koi had been developed, that looked like an Asagi but had the scaleless gene mutation to drastically reduce the number of scales on its body. This new fish was originally called a Doitsu Asagi after the Japanese word for Germany, Deutsche, but the variety quickly developed and became less like the Asagi koi. As the Doitsu Asagi became more popular, it was renamed to Shusui, which also means autumn water, and refers to the pattern of red color on a blue background looking like red leaves that have fallen from a tree to land in the river. The term Doitsu, meaning scaleless koi, stuck, however, and is still used today to refer to scaleless koi. When looking at a Shusui koi, it is difficult to imagine that it is just a scaleless Asagi. Without the reticulation in the scales, the pattern is almost unrecognizable. But the pattern is still the same. Both koi have a blue base color with dark blue scales, while a Shusui is scaleless. It still has one row of scales on each side of its dorsal fin and a red pattern. Therefore, the Shusui should follow very similar rules to the Asagi koi. Firstly, the red pattern should be very prominent on the koi. Just like an Asagi, a Shusui should have a strong high pattern on the side of the fish. The actual shapes of the pattern themselves are of less importance. The main thing is that there is a good amount of high, and it is positioned mostly along the side of the koi and in the cheeks. A Shusui should ideally not have any high under its scales, only in the scaleless areas of skin. The high itself should be a deep, vibrant red with a consistent shade across all of the high, and it should have crisp, clean edges between the high and the blue-gray base color. Just like an Asagi, you should look at the head and the presence of any markings on the head. The best Shusui will have a clean head, meaning that there are no markings on the head at all. The head should have a consistent gray or a white color all over, and any of the high pattern visible on the head would be regarded as an imperfection. Finally, and this is where the Shusui differs from the Asagi, you should consider the quality of the Doitsu scale type. Because a Doitsu fish has fewer scales than a Wagoi non-Doitsu koi, the scales that it does have are much more important. Any imperfection is immediately obvious and makes the whole fish look bad. You should look at each scale along the back and check that each scale is of similar size, either to all of the other scales or to its neighboring scales, and no scale is out of place or damaged. It is very difficult to breed for perfect scales, so actually, many breeders aim for fewer scales rather than perfect scales, as there is less chance for imperfections with a smaller number of scales. Shusui koi fish are perhaps the most unusual koi variety in appearance. They add a dash of novelty to any koi pond with their striking appearance.